Here's a hot take for you. Fandoms are toxic. I know, I say the truths that no one else wants to hear. They're all thinking it, I just have the guts to say it. Have you ever seen Star Wars? You have? Well, The Last Jedi is the best one. You hear that? You hear that sound? It's delicious. Now, speaking of fandoms, I am a big fan of George R.R. Martin and his Song of Ice and Fire series. Like a lot of people, these are the only books of his that I've ever actually read. And I am aware that he's written a vampire novel and some good science fiction that's all well received, but this is what I've read, which probably isn't a big surprise. But Elden Ring is my favorite video game, and he had a hand in designing the world and the lore and the characters and the story in that game. So that's cool. I'm gonna put this down, it's really heavy. Like a lot of people, I enjoyed Game of Thrones immensely until the showrunners ran out of material to adapt, and the final 3 seasons are bad, especially the very last one. That's not news. Everyone agrees on that. And the 5 books that we've got in the A Song of Ice and Fire series are of variable quality. Book 1 is perfect, Book 2 feels a little bit bloated, Book 3, which is separated into 2 books, is my personal favourite. Book 4 I didn't like when I first read it, and then I really warmed to it, and Book 5 is also way too bloated, but it does mainly feature the 3 arguable protagonists of the entire series: Daenerys, Jon, and Tyrion. So it should be the best one in that regard, but I do actually prefer Feast for Crows, now that I've sat on it for like a decade. Anyway, for some reason, I find myself constantly tripping over clickbait articles about where we're at in A Song of Ice and Fire, about whether or not Winds of Winter will ever come out, news and updates, and these headlines are always misleading and blah blah blah. But I saw one just yesterday that really annoyed me, and I need to talk about it because it's kind of gross. And it reveals the fact that the loudest people in the A Song of Ice and Fire / Game of Thrones fandom community are assholes. This particular article was written by Chris McPherson for Collider, and this article features, in my opinion, a misleading headline. George R.R. Martin steps away from the Winds of Winter for new project. Those words, steps away, are purposefully vague. Readers are going to react to that headline differently. Some people are going to think that that means he's quitting. Other people might think it means he's passing it off to someone else. Or maybe he's going on a hiatus. Whatever. It's a clever bit of clickbait, in my opinion. Because the truth isn't that when you actually read the article. George R.R. Martin may still be deep in the long journey toward finishing The Winds of Winter, but his creative pursuits haven't slowed down elsewhere. The author's latest project, The Ugly Chickens, just took home the award for Best Narrative Short Film in the horror sci-fi thriller category at the Cinequest Film Festival in San Jose. That's not him stepping away. That's just him doing multiple things, one of which was a film that won an award. There's nothing there about stepping away. Of course, Martin's foray into other projects continues to stir frustration among fans eagerly awaiting his next novel. That tension came to a head last month at Worldcon in Seattle, where Martin appeared on a panel with Brandon Sanderson, Robin Hobb, Rebecca Roanhorse, and Ryan Cahill. Cahill? I've never heard anyone say it out loud. And this is where we get to the toxicity in the fandom, but it's going to go deeper than you think. During the Q&A, Martin was confronted by an audience member demanding to know when he would hand over The Winds of Winter and A Dream of Spring to another author, suggesting Sanderson, because Martin was probably going to die soon. The uncomfortable moment left Martin's fellow panelists rushing to his defense before organizers stepped in. Afterward, Martin continued the day with book signings, receiving a warmer reception from the majority of attendees. The incident, however, underscores the toxic edge of fan entitlement, where creators are pressured as though their work is owed on demand. I couldn't agree more. The entitlement of fans is disgraceful. It is disgusting. I don't want to sound old, but these days, people seem to forget that film, TV, video games, books, music, every popular medium of art is just that. It's art. created by artists. It is not content to be consumed. I've addressed this problem before when it comes to being a YouTuber. I don't like the idea of creating content. I am a book critic. I am a writer. I am an editor. I am other things besides an influencer or a content creator or even a YouTuber, because these are nebulous, vague, and often toxic things that bring to mind the idea of walking on some kind of capitalist treadmill, which I know we're all doing in one way or another. But George R.R. Martin is an artist. He's an author. He's a world builder and a writer. He's doing incredible things in the world of fantasy, and he has been for like 50 years. He can do what he wants with his art. If A Song of Ice and Fire never ends, I don't really care. Obviously, I'm excited to read the next 2 books, if they ever materialize, but I just appreciate that he's done what he's done. I appreciate the books that we've got. I appreciate the incredible world and characters that he brought to us. He created art. That art is wonderful and I enjoy it. Why is it that people think they're entitled, that they're able, that they have a right to demand certain things? It is wild to me, and it is so disgusting. The article continues, despite the noise, Martin hasn't stopped discussing his magnum opus. He has said the book is over 75% complete and it will be the longest he's written to date. In a recent blog entry, he touched on his approach to dragons in the narrative. I would have dragons, yes, but I wanted my dragons to be as real and believable as such a creature could ever be. I designed my dragons with a lot of care. They fly and breathe fire, yes, those traits seemed essential to me. They bond with men, some men, and the why and how of that and how it came to be will eventually be revealed in more detail in The Winds of Winter and A Dream of Spring, and some in Blood and Fire. Septon Bath got much of it right. That's great. That to me shows integrity. This is a man who still cares about his craft, the world he's created, the narrative, the themes, the ideologies, the mechanics of the world. It's all in there. This is a man who cares about the craft. There are so many hack authors that I've read who don't give a second thought to the world that they're creating. I'm thinking of the most popular romantasy authors. Authors who I have repeatedly described as having created these cardboard cutout worlds that have no depth or structure or dimension or consideration or texture to them. Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire. This world is so textured. It is so rich and layered. It has so much history and geography and lore and culture. It is a fully fleshed out, fully realized political machine of a world. It is one of the most detailed and intricate worlds that we've ever seen. And a person doesn't create something as incredible as the world of A Song of Ice and Fire without being a talented, a dedicated, and a deeply respectable author. And then there are people going, yeah, but we're owed the next book. We want the next book before you die. You're gonna die soon, George. You'll be dead. They keep saying this. This is not the first time we've seen this. It's not the first time someone has said this. He has addressed it himself. The fact that for the last 10 years, people have been making these offhand comments about this elderly writer, one of the great writers in the history of the genre, kicking the bucket, as if it's nothing, as if it wouldn't mean anything, as if they wouldn't mourn him, they'd just be frustrated they didn't get the next book. This is a person. This is an incredibly talented person who has given these people so much joy, so much art. He's not a content mill. He's not a machine. He is a person. And they talk about his death like it's not the death of a person. I don't understand how people can be so flippant when talking about a person hypothetically potentially dying soon. It's horrible. George R.R. Martin has seen an incredible amount of success, fame, and I'm sure he's got an incredible amount of wealth. It doesn't seem to be bringing him a lot of joy when so many of his most vocal fans are the most twisted, horrible, selfish, condescending, entitled man-children I've ever seen. And I said that this went deeper than you'd think, and that's because I read the comments on this Collider article. And it just keeps going. One guy said, and I'm sure it's a guy, he should probably finish it then if he wants it done. It's been 14 years. His fans are justified in being annoyed. And he's 76 years old and has one more book to go after this one. So yeah, hop to it already. F*** off. Nigel said no. He will never finish it. He'll definitely be dead long before he even gets to 90%. I feel like he's totally unenthused about trying to finish it and is doing everything else to procrastinate because he has no clue how to finish it. And there is supposed to be, what, 2 more books after this? It'll be 20 years between each book and he'll definitely be in the ground long before that. This is a f***ing person, and you're conjuring images of his dead body in the dirt? It's cruelty. How are these people not embarrassed? How are they not ashamed? How do they not feel anything about the way that they talk? It's disgusting. I hate this. Where has this come from? The idea that people create great works of art and then other people go, yeah, keep it coming. Give us more. Quick, you're gonna be dead soon. Where's the humanity? The f*** is wrong with these people? If he's really 75% done, then maybe he'll finish Winds of Winter, since that'd just be about 5 more years. But no way he finishes Dream of Spring before he kicks it. Kicks it! I am seething. I'm fuming. I already read all of this. That's why I'm here making this video. And now I'm having to read it again. These people are vile. Martin said, why is this an example of fan entitlement? We can get mad at Netflix for cancelling a show, but we can't be mad at him for doing essentially the same thing. I've given up and never really read beyond book 3, but it's kind of unfair blaming fans for it. Netflix is a soulless corporation. George R.R. Martin is a human being. Why do you not know the difference? This is the problem with that whole content mill attitude towards art and things that people create out of their imaginations. Anything from a clever TikTok video to a full novel. These are all things that people create through their imaginations and their skills. Their ability to communicate and express themselves, their ability to be in touch with their souls and put that out as a form of communication through fiction, through any vessel they choose. These people are creating things. They have imaginations. And these fans sit there drooling, going, give me more, give me more. You do something. Make art. Go write a story. Go write a book. Go make some music. Go do something. I hear this all the time. So many authors end up writing the novel that doesn't exist. A novel that they wished existed. So go on, Martin. Go write a novel. Go put all of your frustration into something creative. The fact that you can't recognize the difference between a company and a person is genuinely frightening. Luke said, what kind of BS is fan entitlement? Of course the fans are entitled to his work. Martin owes everything he has to his fans, and you think fans are owed nothing? That's not how business works. Consumers made the value, not the provider. Martin is the biggest fraud of all time. Glad someone called him out live. This person, genuinely, I don't think has a soul. And I'm not going to call this person a capitalist because people seem to misunderstand capitalists are the ones at the top. This person is a bootlicker and not a very bright one. It's disgusting behavior. These books are incredible art and they mean a lot to me. I could praise them for days and days on end for a million different reasons. I absolutely adore these books and I'm so proud of George R.R. Martin. He's a massive inspiration. If I met him, all I would do is shake his hand and say thank you. Thank you for this. If he has the time, the power, the energy, the enthusiasm to make more, to create more art, great, good for him. If he doesn't, I'm so grateful for what he's done, for what he's given us, for the imagination that he has and the ability to write that down into these incredible novels. Thank you, George R.R. Martin. I will be forever grateful to you for what you've done here. This is wonderful. Of course, everyone would love more. Of course, everyone would love to see a proper end to this story, but fan entitlement is toxic and disgusting and selfish and heartless. Just be grateful. Be grateful to an amazing artist for the amazing art that he's created. Ignorant creatures, my God. Fandoms can be wonderful places. Depending on where you go online and in real life at Comic-Cons and board game cafes and poetry evenings and all of the wonderful spaces where people go and connect with their fellow fans of various art forms. You go to concerts, you go to plays, whatever. Being a fan of an artist, an art form, a genre, a medium, whatever it is, it can be a wonderful, beautiful, exciting thing. And then so often these men come along to be toxic, disgusting, selfish creatures, and they ruin everything. The Last Jedi, by the way, is the best Star Wars film. Tell me I'm wrong, be rude, and prove me right. And if you've enjoyed this, support me on Patreon and subscribe for books. Thank you.